Gaurabhakta. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The 10 subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam. Shukadeva explains the 10 subject matters found in Srimad Bhagavatam. He also further describes the Lord's Virat Rupa form. After this, Parikshit asks the reminder of his questions that began in chapter 8. Silvery moonbeams shimmered on the rippling river as it flowed by the great gathering of sages seated around Shukadeva and Parikshit. The water lapped gently against the riverbank. Shadowy forms of deer could be seen quenching their thirst. Wild dogs howled in the distance. Stars twinkled brightly in the clear night sky, and the effulgence of the waxing moon illuminated the faces of Parikshit and the sages. When Shukadeva concluded his narration, a murmur of appreciation rose from the audience. Even the speculative philosophers were impressed by his authoritative answers. Shukadeva said, "My dear king, what more do you wish to know?" Parikshit sat in spellbound silence for a few moments. He had never heard before such comprehensive and clear explanations. Because of his devotional inclination, he wanted to utilize this opportunity to clearly understand the full significance of Krishna's creation. Thinking back to the earlier inconclusive conversation amongst the sages, he said, "Wise one, there are diverse opinions about the material creation, spiritual reality, the living beings, entanglement in matter, and the ultimate destination of the soul. I would like to give you a definitive understanding of these matters." Shukadeva's expression became grave. Briefly glancing upon the sages who were inclined to speculate about the absolute, he said to Parikshit, "Proper knowledge must be received from the right source. Brahma is the supreme authority in the universe. He showed by his own example that we should act according to the principles set by the Supreme Lord." Placing his palms together in a gesture of respect, Shukadeva indicated Narada. Narada is the dearest of Brahma's sons. He greatly pleased his father by his inquiries about the Supreme Lord, the master of all energies. Because Narada is virtuous, meek, obedient, and self-controlled, Brahma instructed him in the same Srimad Bhagavatam which he had previously heard directly from the Lord. Shukadeva explained that the Srimad Bhagavatam is a supplement to the other Vedic literatures, and it contains 10 subject matters. Although counted as one of the Puranas, Srimad Bhagavatam is limitless in its scope and power. Pause here. I remembered what Taruni was saying yesterday, that scriptures are alive. Srimad Bhagavatam is alive. It's Krishna. It's the sun which has arisen to dispel darkness in this age of Kali. And it is alive. Wow, what a thought. What a presence in our life. How fortunate we are. Shukadeva respectfully indicated his father, sage Vyasadeva. After hearing it from Brahma, Narada later instructed it to his disciple, the unlimitedly powerful sage Vyasadeva. On Narada's order, Vyasadeva sat on the bank of the river Saraswati and meditated on the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He thus factually realized all these truths which he later taught me. O King, I shall answer your questions by the explanations given in Srimad Bhagavatam. Parikshit's eyes shone with curiosity. What were the 10 subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam? Shukadeva said, the 10 principal subjects of Srimad Bhagavatam are as follows. Sarga, the primary creation by the Lord, which includes the manifestation of the elements, the senses, false ego, Mahatattva, and the 10 matras or subtle sense objects such as sound, form, taste, etc. All these appear after the Lord activates the 3 modes of nature. Visarga, the subcreation by Brahma and the progenitors when the different species are created. Sthanam, the Lord's infallible protection and maintenance of the cosmos, especially in the form of his instructions to the living entities, which enable them to remain peaceful and happy. Oshanam, Krishna's special mercy shown to his devotees who engage in devotional practices. Uti, conditioned souls are motivated by desires to enjoy the result of their work. These desires are called uti, and they arise from impressions stored in the living being's subconscious memory from previous life. Manvantara, about the Manus. Sorry, pause here. Yesterday, I did some astrological readings for some children to understand the nature, and there were 3 kids, and each of their previous life was very, very interesting. You know, for me, it was like a live depiction of Srimad Bhagavatam in front of my eyes. They are kids who live in our community, in fact. One kid was a yogi in the previous life who kind of was an impersonalist yogi, incompleted lessons. He was doing so many austerities and tapasya to his physical body. At the same time, didn't complete the process. So this kid is a teenager right now and has some kind of mystic powers. He can kind of predict the future already. He knows exactly what's going to happen. He knows when it's going to rain, things like this. Very, very like yogic type. And I didn't know all that. I knew that this person had 3 kids, but then when I looked in the chart and they were asking me questions about, oh, I'm having this difficulty, that difficulty. And then I could clearly see that in the previous life, this person was a yogi and had neglected their bodies to such an extent. And also they were avoiding relationships. And it was really like a movie playing in the room yesterday while I was explaining this person's soul sitting, going away from the world, wanting to get free from material entanglements, but of course impersonal path, and then torturing the body. And this kid, this life has problems with the body, has like subconscious memory from previous life, as it says here. This is like in action. I could really see this kid was carrying still the neglected body, subconscious habits was still there. And the same allergic reaction to people. The kid just doesn't like to be amongst people. And so much inclination towards spirituality. In fact, that kid brought his parents to Krishna consciousness by just becoming so disgusted with being in the world. And the kid would be crying, I think for 2 years or like that, almost 1 year, maybe 1 year of being born. The kid was just intensely crying until then when they found Hare Krishna Mahamantra, immediately the kid just pacified. After, whenever the kid would hear Hare Krishna, the kid got pacified. Then later for another year or so something, they couldn't give up meat and the kid just wouldn't eat and it was just making so much fuss. Then later on, they actually became vegetarians. Then the kid started eating normally and got pacified, not just not eating. The kid would be aggressive and violent because it could not tolerate meat. And anyway, like this. And the other kid was a royal family thing and very much addicted to kind of money. And even today, to do the chores in the house, the kid wants money. The kid wants that the parents pay even to wash anything and this and that. And she just goes in our market, she just sells her toys and makes earrings on her own and sells and makes 6,000 rupees, like this. She's just a kid, like 10-year-old. And I could see clearly that she was from a royal family and she's still looking for that comfort. And then I was trying to explain to the parent what each kid needs, therefore. And the other kid was a politician, and even now is very tricky, very manipulative, wants to become a politician, wants to go back to the country. And that kid is just, what, 7 years old, and still wants to do all these kind of things. And then I was trying, and then some other astrologer told them that this, you should take the kid to their place and make them study there and become politician. And I was saying, look, the subconscious mentality is there, the desire is there, but doesn't mean we have to follow the same thing. We should do Krishna conscious training, so that even if the person's karma and Krishna wants them to become a politician or something, if you give a strong basis of Krishna consciousness, the kid may become a politician in ISKCON or something, so Prabhupada. So it doesn't have to be exactly as the chart says. Charts are only an indication. Planets only impel, they don't compel us. And what is really driving it, we had discussed some time ago, it's the desires. Paramatma is in the heart with all this, right? He knows our desires from previous life. He knows our habits. Everything is stored up there, but doesn't mean that we have to keep going in the same, chewing the same chew, going over the same experiences again and again. This lifetime also, they start to become politicians. Instead, if we actually dovetail those natures in Krishna's service, that's the perfection. But parents sometimes need to be guided so much to be able to train the subconscious memory and subconscious desires and things like that. So I really found this to be super interesting, that amazing how that memory and experience and habits and even bodily, whatever, if you took care of your body, you get a good body. You didn't take care of your body, you tortured your body, you get a difficult body with health problems. Even the other day, I read another kid's chart, similar thing. The kid didn't do well with taking care of body, addicted to alcohol and drugs in previous life, like an addict. And this lifetime, they have so many health issues, even as a teenager. So it's amazing how the body stores up desires and memories, and how amazing it is that we have the free will to wipe that out and restore and dovetail our natures. So Krishna is really doing this. Poshanam especially is showing mercy to his devotees, so we can engage in devotional practices which can release us from that conditioned mind, conditioned mentality, and which can make us advance towards Krishna by engaging our natures in Krishna consciousness. Yeah, very interesting realizations in this topic. Manvantara. Narrations.
That was so beautiful, especially like how you said, they just impel, but they don't compel. So we still have the free will to decide on what we can do, right, Mataji?
Oh, yeah. See, there is nothing written in stone. People think, oh, astrologer, oh, this astrologer told us to go back to the country and make the kids study. And I said, it's not like that. Or somebody says, it's written in our chart that we will divorce. There's nothing like that. Nothing is written in stone. These are all just indications. I mean, literally, if I have to, I probably should use this. Astrology only reveals this, what we're reading here. Conditioned souls are motivated by desire to enjoy the results of their work. Their desires are called utti, and they arise from impressions stored in the living being's subconscious memory from previous life. That's it. That's what we can see through astrology, that you have this tendency, you have this nature, and if you keep going in that direction, as Narad Muni says, our mind can help us to, our mind indicates what kind of past we had and what kind of future we can have. So based on how you're working on your subconscious desires, you can either fall in a pit that is in front of you if we keep walking in the same direction of, okay, material position, fame, money, whatever we did last life. If we keep going there, Saturn, there are different planets, kindly like Durga Devi's energy, Mahamaya, she will make us fall and trip so that we realize that that's not the way. We have already been this path. It's not going to work. Turn around, go back to Krishna. No, slowly, material nature will teach us that. Basically, astrology is an indication of our previous desires, our subconscious patterns, our habits, our conditioning, and our blocks. and a possibility, a probability of, if we keep walking in this direction of the way the subconscious mind is directing us, this is the possible consequence. We might either, end up, all these things, such as you will marry this kind of a person, or you will have a difficult marriage. Okay, that may be because in our last life we didn't value marriage enough. This lifetime we will be forced to value it. And if we don't value it, we'll trip and fall in that hole and we may have separation. But if we learn our lessons joyfully by understanding concepts of Srimad Bhagavatam, by understanding our existence, by understanding why Brahma created this world for us, why Krishna is allowing us to be here in this world, it's a training ground. All these things, if we get it in our head, we can immediately start working. Right now, we can change our mindset and say, I don't want my subconscious memory from previous life to lead me. I want Krishna to. So Krishna, please release me from bondage of self. Let me do your will. What's your plan for me? Giving the reins of the chariot to Krishna, because we have done this over and over and over again. The same natures we're being cultivating, the same habits we're being cultivating, the same ego, the same attitude. So this lifetime, we can just say, you know what? That's why they say for devotees, astrology doesn't work. I mean, if you're really devotee, if you're really willing for Krishna to take over your life, all these tendencies, all these conditionings can actually be dovetailed. And Krishna will just say, okay, you have this silly material desire, but your real heart is in devotional service. Fine, you can have this particular thing for a while. And once the experience is over, I will bring you to, pure state of peace and no disturbance from material desires. But sometimes those material desires need to kind of get out of our system, but sometimes it doesn't need to get out of our system, because Krishna is saying you don't need that experience, another lifetime wasted. It depends on our readiness. If we want Krishna really, if we want to progress really, oh my God, I've seen, and astrologically also, I've seen some people really change their charts. For instance, even our hands also store our subconscious thought patterns, palms of the hands, and the lines of the hands keep changing every 6 months. I remember when my Guru Maharaj told me to do this, I said, Guru Maharaj, I don't believe in these things. I believe in free will. I was like a person who was like, I can make anything happen. And so then, Krishna's mercy is there. We don't need these things. And my Guru Maharaj said, therefore, you'll be a good astrologer because you lead people towards Krishna and not towards astrology. So people are really dependent on astrology, but it's like feeding them indirectly. Krishna consciousness, the faith aspect. So basically, astrology can be a conviction to tell them, look, you need to change your subconscious patterns again, and otherwise another lifetime would be wasted. Change your habits, dovetail it to Krishna. So it's amazing that I'm getting all these proofs, to see this kids in the devotional community with their previous life so clear. And then this life, their behavior is like continuing. And wow, that's OT. That is what it is all about.
So powerful. Thank you so much for sharing. So
Thank
powerful.
you.
In fact, one of our other mentor, he's also into he knows about astrology and all that. So he was also saying the same thing. I mean, I remember him teaching the same thing. It's not set. If we submit ourselves to Krishna, just like how beautifully you were saying, if we actually submit ourselves to Krishna, Krishna takes over our lives.
Yeah. Nothing is, the point I always tell my clients, but they don't get it. Astrology works because there is free will. Because if there was no free will, who created your chart? Who created these karma? Who created these desires? Who created all these tendencies? You created it because you cultivated it. You desired it. You put the seeds, right? The subconscious mind is now fructifying those things that you created. So you have free will. So you can change. People always ask, what's going to be in 10 years? Depends what you're going to cultivate now. It's not etched in stone. It's not like a fixed thing written in stone that it cannot be changed. That's not astrology at all. There's one devotee, he had the accident karma in some planetary transits, and he was given with a mantra to avoid that accident. 8 months, this devotee chanted this mantra so earnestly. It's Krishna's, I mean, like Vaishnava remedy. The devotee, like really seriously, he chanted, right? And then he had this huge accident, and nobody understood what a miracle actually saved him, because it was really like a horrible crash. The car got completely destroyed and everything. But somehow or another, the devotee only he survived just with some scratches and some jaw. Something happened to the jaw, and he was in hospital just for a few days like that. But then he recovered, and he was saying, and everybody who knew the story was saying, it's those mantras which saved him. Meaning, those mantras makes us, whatever is the Vaishnava remedy, it switches our consciousness to whatever it is, patience that we need, tolerance that we need, forgiveness that we need, strength of character that we need, whatever it is. When we consciously pray, then mind changes, the subconscious pattern changes, the habits change, the attitude changes, and then also the event gets modified, if not completely changed. But sometimes it can completely change too. Like I know some devotees with like 20% compatibility, and they survive 20 years, 25 years, 30 years of marriage. And I know one devotee couple, Prabhupada disciple, they have 100% compatibility. Like, oh, and they divorced. I don't know how many years they were married, but they divorced. So I have seen both situations. So everything is about the mind. Everything is about consciousness. And we usually rebel. Even recently, like some devotees got some remedy mantras to chant. But then my astrology teacher always says, even to get a good astrologer, you need to have good karma. If you don't have karma, you won't get even that. So means like, if we are not willing, like sometimes we are self-will, no? I want this, I want that in life. And we go to astrology with that mindset, then we get the kind of astrologer we want. Like Prabhupada said, we want cheaters and cheated, like that. But if we go to Krishna with that mood of, I really want to progress, I really want to improve, then you may get some instruction, you may get some remedies which will help you to go closer to Krishna. And I remember this particular story where, I mean, recently it happened like a few days ago. A couple of clients didn't like what I told them about something. Some like they didn't want to, they wanted to leave the husbands. And I was like, don't, they are actually okay. And they were like, no, but some other astrologer told us that we have good Jupiter and we'll get better husband. I said, if you have good Jupiter, if the husband you have is good, why you need another one? And then I told them, you have not good Jupiter, therefore you're thinking that this person is not good for you. And you will always feel that way, whoever you marry. But then they started to say, no, I don't want to chant this mantra because, if I chant this mantra, then I may become satisfied and be peaceful with the current husband. So I don't want to chant the mantra. And I was like amazed how jivas can rebel against the Lord's plans. And, it's amazing, it's amazing. And so they said, no, the system you're using is wrong. And some other astrologer told us we have good next marriage. So we don't want to chant this mantra because what if this marriage will work out, and we don't want that. We want something new. And I was like, great. Thank you, Krishna, for showing me that even if we do our best to help people change their karma, people may not be willing. So everything is about that willingness. Everything is about the free will. Really, it's amazing. Would you like to continue reading, Taruni?
Yes, Mataji. My God, thank you for saying that. My God, how rebellious. I'm just thinking about myself, like, oh my, why, I'm just thinking all the instances that I have been rebellious myself, and I'm like, God,
right.
I should not be.
We all are. That's why we are here.
As such, I think of myself, I think it's my the false ego in me, which makes me feel like, no, I'm very submissive. But really, when I see, of course, there is rebellion. Otherwise, why would I be here, right? And that's how I'm thinking. I'm seeing that in me now. All right. Sorry, my eyes. 1 second. Manvantaram, narrations about the Manus, the kings who father mankind in different periods of Brahma's days, and who relay the Lord's laws to mankind. Isha Anukata, descriptions of Krishna's incarnations, pastimes, and devotees. Nirodha, the merging of the conditioned living beings back into the body of Mahavishnu at the time of universal devastation. Mukti, the living being's attainment of his pure spiritual identity as a Lord's eternal associate. This can be attained even while still within the material body. Would you like to explain that, Mataji?
Yeah,
This can be attained.
exactly. This can be attained even while still within the material body. So you see, liberation or pure devotion is not something like a geographical location border, Canada and US, there's the border. If you cross that side, it's Canada, and this side is US. It's not like that.
That statement that you said is exact statement of my Guru Maharaj. It's not a geographical location. So sweet. Yes, please
Really?
continue, Mataji. Please continue.
Really. Yeah, sometimes we think, even like, I'm sorry, I'm in this mood and I want to go in that direction because it's a lesson for me. When I'm handling rebellious clients, I think exactly like what Taruni was saying, that how many times I really literally cried in front of the deities yesterday after realizing how these clients of mine are rebelling and spreading rumors that I'm not giving right readings or something. And I was just going in front of the Lord and I said, my dear Lord, I've rebelled so much against your wishes and your desires. So many times you've given me opportunity to get out of the clutches of Maya. So many times you've given me opportunity to liberate myself from that false ego, from that resentment, from fear, from guilt, from shame, what not. All these things that's binding me to this material world, the false hopes, the expectations, anger, resentment, disgust, all these things. And I choose to rebel. I've chosen to rebel year after year, decade after decade, lifetime after lifetime. And my sweet Lord is still there, still giving me opportunities, still giving me another chance, another second chance to correct myself, to give up all this false sense of self, to give up this suffering and this miserable self-will that is causing me to get more and more and more entangled. And I could see that, like, I felt like a mother to these clients, like really like a mother. I felt why they're rebelling, why they don't want peace, why they don't want happiness, why they want to go after the other side of the grass, which looks greener. They're just going to get more disappointed. Their karma, it's clear that this lifetime, they're not supposed to have that romantic companionship. Why they're running after that? And then I immediately realized this is a lesson for me. They don't have the karma to take good advice, but this is Krishna's way of showing me that I need to look at my life and see the areas that I am rebelling, the areas that I am trying to do my will. So this point about becoming free, finding that spiritual identity, finding that peace about who we are, that self-realization. And we don't need to wait around for us to leave the body, or like I was saying, these people don't need to wait for leaving their husbands to find out that again, in this material world, there is no another person which can give you more than this person, because that's your karma. And that's the way we get liberated, by understanding that I don't need to leave a situation or a relationship. Another client is so fed up with the child. Like, will the child leave and go away? I'm tired. I just want this child to go away. Like, grow up quickly and go away. And I was thinking, yeah, that state of liberation doesn't need to come from the child going away from home. Even if the child goes away, I've seen people worried and troubled by money, and the child goes to prison. And I mean, you can go on and on, so many troubles. But that sense of liberation can come from what we are expecting. A sense of liberation can come from us learning the lessons while we are in that situation. So it's again, and I've seen that happening in some very nice devotees who are sincere in their charts, that yeah, the defamation comes, difficulties come, poverty comes, ill health comes. Things are there in the chart that it may come, but what is the difference is they deal with it differently. They don't see it as misery anymore. They're not suffering anymore. But I'm thinking of Bhakti Tirtha Swami was a perfect example also. He didn't take it as a non-devotee. He was already one with the Lord. He was already in perfect relation with the Lord. And whatever was happening to the body was only like, okay, the karma manifesting, but internally he was already liberated. I'm also thinking of my Guru Maharaj. You see his body, and then it's like, how anybody with that body can do what he's doing? Because he's already liberated from the identification that he's the body. I mean, one funny thing happened some time ago. I went to see my Guru Maharaj. It was a few years ago, like, I don't know, 3 years, 4 years ago. And I had started wearing glasses, like, just to look, I don't know, look intellectual, or also I needed, like, I had short sight to see deities, I needed glasses. So then I went in front of my Guru Maharaj and he said, oh, now you're wearing glasses. And it simultaneously made me shy. Also, I felt touched that he notices these small things, right? And then I said, yes, Guru Maharaj, do you like it? And then he paused for a moment. He looked sharp, straight into my eyes. I felt like he was looking at my soul. And then kind of posed himself and he said, like, I was waiting. Is he going to say, yes, I like it? Is he going to say, no, I don't like it? What is he going to say? I was so curious. And that 1 minute felt like one yuga of waiting to see what he's going to say. It's such a personal interaction. My Guru Maharaj closed his eyes for a moment, opened again, and he said, you're not this body. And that's it. I just
Oh my God. So transcendental, so transcendental.
And I still have
every word is like always connected with the absolute truth, right? Oh my God.
And I was immediately humbled. I was taken aback, but then I was immediately restored to sanity. Immediately. And then he was so kind. Then he said, he told the secretary, take a picture, because I was trying to take earlier I tried to take a picture of him and my husband. They were there together. And then I didn't ask, but my Guru Maharaj said to the secretary, take a picture with all the three of us. Like, and he told me to give my phone to the secretary. And I still have that picture that I took that day with the glasses on. And it's such a reminder that, and the picture was a gift from my Guru Maharaj to me, that reminding me that my identity, my everything is beyond this material body. And for me to feel that I'm not this body, I don't need to get out of the body. I can be reminded while in the body that I'm not this body. That's examples that we can find with our own lives when we see our gurus, our teachers, our Vaishnava
You can
acharyas.
see that picture every single day when you get up in the morning. Our first class, Sachinanda Maharaj was there. That was the first time we were like entering into not the second time, sorry. Nina has been at the second, in the ISKCON temple. And then he's giving a class and japa and everything. We don't know anything. We were just sitting and then he was just telling something. And then he said, you Americans, you always wish each other by saying, hi, how are you? And stuff like that, right? Every day in the morning when you look at the mirror, you just say, hi, spirit, soul. So like that, you're reminding yourself that you're the soul, you're not this body. Because first thing that we do is like you just go see the mirror and we reconfirm. Yes, this is me, this is my eyes, this is my face, this is my this, that, right? So my God, it was so powerful. Every time when I look at the mirror, that thought always comes just because he said that. I still carry that most of the times when I look at the mirror.
That led me to a huge, it was a breakthrough for me in that point in life. And it was a transformational phase of my spiritual services, because there is so much deeper meaning. I was still identifying with what I was, who I was in terms of my reputation or how I looked, right? Like, I was so much concerned about how I looked and how I dressed and all that stuff. That day it was like, you know what? It doesn't matter how I look. It matters how I use my body. How I use this body in service is the point. It's not about if I look beautiful, if I look impressive, all that stuff is none of my business. It's about what I do with this body. And so I'm reminded by my husband often, like, don't get obsessed about these kind of external things. And he says, think of how you're using your body. That's more important. So it's a good reminder. I'm going to do that, Taruni. And I'll remember you also. I'll put that in I have a printed out picture of that, and I'm going to put it on my mirror. And then I'm going to write, you're not the body. It's more important what you do with your body than how your body looks. I want to write that so I can actually be reminded every morning that the point is to engage this body in service. That's what means becoming liberated. So when we're engaged in Krishna's service, the body is already liberated. We already attained spiritual world. And when the body is not engaging in spiritual service, and we are obsessed with guilt, ego, shame, anger, disgust, all these material emotions, then we are in the material world. So it's a state of being, it's a state of consciousness that keeps us in this world, or the gratitude and devotion to Krishna when we feel the bhava. Again, it's about the bhava. If we have the right bhava, if we are in the right mood, we are already in the spiritual world with Krishna. And if we don't have the right attitude, then we are lost in hell. What's that? There's that song, no? Yeah, that one. Nanu nannadu emba narakadolage biddu neene gati endu nambida dasana mele. So to think that this is my body, this is me, is like a hell, because there is always going to be somebody smarter than us. There's always going to be somebody more prettier than us. There's always going to be somebody who's more famous than us, right? More successful, etc., etc. So if I identify myself as this body, everything that comes along will frustrate us, because there's always somebody better. But if I identify myself as a servant of the Lord and think that the Lord is allowing me to do this, then we're liberated with that thought, because it's not about me and mine anymore. It's about God's will. And so, like when we identify with our body, we think, oh, I have so many talents I'm not using. Somebody else has nothing and they're so famous and everybody likes them, and I'm not like so known. Then it's bodily identity. But when we think, for today, Krishna is allowing me to do this service. He's allowing me to take care of the kids. He's allowing me to take care of these girls who are sent to me. He's allowing me to dress them up. He's allowing me to chant. Whatever it is that I'm able to do, I give that the importance, and I say, this is what Krishna is allowing me to do. And we are liberated. We are free. We feel one in our identity with the Lord. And we know that, okay, I'm Krishna's and this is what he's allowing me. But when we think, I didn't get this done, I couldn't study that, and I should have done this way, I should have done that way, it's all self-will. And then I should have become better in my life, I should have been there, and now I'm still here. This is all self-will. And that only frustrates us. And even if we are very talented, we're still stuck in the material level of thinking that this is mine, this is me, this is my idea, like that.
Yeah, very nice, Mataji.
And this ashraya concludes that point very well. The ultimate refuge of everything, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. That's it. That's the that's the essence of Srimad Bhagavatam. That he's our shelter. We belong to him.
Ashya Vigraha, right? Yeah. So wonderful, no? Just hearing these topics is so nice. Especially the Uti. I was like very intrigued with Uti, and then Ashraya. It's so beautiful. Poshanam also, right? Poshanam.
Yeah.
And even that Sthanam also, I was like, wow, look at that. See how Krishna is giving us instructions so that we can remain peaceful wherever we are, peaceful and happy. Sthanam means actually like in place, right? So we can actually be in this material world, in this place, being happy and peaceful in service to him. So that's what I was thinking,
one of this some kind of a God conscious program I was doing for addicts. Like I was learning how to do this kind of programs. They have a concept that God has a way to help us progress in any circumstance, and there is nothing we need to pressure or push, or especially about others. Ourselves, we have our free will, but we can't force others, right? So there is that concept that they have their own free will, but God has a plan for them. That whole faith-based thing, especially when it comes to, say, difficult spouses or difficult children, difficult family members, to give them that, put that faith in the Lord, that Krishna has a plan for them. They are also progressing towards Krishna, maybe slowly, but maybe, who knows, suddenly they may progress very quickly too. And I was very impressed that even the karmis get it. And sometimes we as devotees, we are still stuck in the kind of geographical thing. We have to go back to the spiritual world. You have to do this. It's not about doing anymore, right? It's about the feeling. So I also like this Sthanam point, because he is maintaining everybody. He's giving so many opportunities to find peace. That's why it's not that somebody who's not a devotee, somebody who's meat eating, somebody who's in addictions, somebody who's enjoying out of regulative principles, etc. It's not that they die under the truck immediately, It's not like that. Krishna is not somebody who says, everybody who is not worshipping me, go get killed under the truck or something, or throw some thunderbolt and kill that person. That's not happening, right? He's still helping those persons to find some peace, find some fulfillment. And so I remember one video about forgiveness. Somebody was asked, should I forgive? I can't forgive my abuser. What to do? Should I really forgive? And the answer was like, no, you don't need to forgive. Just every day, do whatever you feel comfortable. If you feel comfortable every day, giving that head space to that abuser in your head, thinking about that person, thinking about the abuse again and again, and ruminating over that, and thinking of taking revenge. If those are the things that is going to give you comfort, do that. You don't have to forgive. So it's like that. Krishna will give us comfort in that. I know some people who are like that. They don't want to forgive. Year after year after year, they want to live in that unforgiving mood. So, choice is there. But then when we take shelter of Krishna and engage in devotional practice, it's not Sthanam anymore, by the way. You don't get both. He won't give us. Somebody's microphone is. When we choose Poshanam, when we want to be protected by Krishna, the Sthanam aspect is not applicable to us anymore, because we go under the Poshanam thing, which means Krishna, he'll become more, sometimes more strict, you can say. I remember, this is many, many years ago. We wanted to go and sit in Chennai beach. There was a beach there. And I always had my complaint that, it's been so many years, more than a decade, we're married, we never went on a vacation, something like that. I had my own kind of thing. And then we went there in this Chennai, like kind of a deserted, like a peaceful place. Not many people were there. We tried to go there. And then I remember that the mood was sense gratification. It was not, I didn't want to go there to chant or not like that. I just wanted to go there because I had a mindset that I want to just go sit in the beach and just enjoy, sit the breeze, and totally materialistic motivation. And then immediately a policeman came there and warned us that this is a crime scene. Somebody was killed last night here. Immediately Krishna was like, no, you're not doing it, my child. Go away from me.
Like so graphic. Can't believe it, right? Krishna's humor, we can say, right?
I know. So mood of enjoyment, mood of sense gratification, I'm going there. we were just about to, I was just looking from distance and we were just about to go to the shore. And then this policeman walks towards us and tells us the gruesome scene that happened last night. There was this killing and this and that. And then from far, I was already like kind of witnessing that maybe there was already some blood and everything right there. But then me and my husband realized he was not in that mood. He was just trying to kind of facilitate my desire, right? But then he immediately said, you see, we were in the, he included himself, although I don't think he was in the mood of want to go and sit and enjoy. But he said, you see, we were thinking of enjoyment and immediately Krishna pulled us out of it. So because Krishna takes notice of our real desire. So if we are cultivating every day, going in Guru Puja, going in Artik and asking the Lord, please engage me in pure devotional service, he's not going to let us eat junk, eat or whatever, do something that's going to cause us obstacle. Because it's like that, it's never ending, right? Today is the beach and then next is another thing. So I in my life, I have seen that. I'm not saying no, people should not take vacations. I very much highly recommend for families to do that, etc. But I know that in my own life, there are many times Krishna stopped me from sense enjoyment. Many times. Ticket gets booked, but then the flight gets cancelled. Things like that. Whenever there is a intention of trying to enjoy separately from Krishna, I see this poshanam happening. When it says here, Krishna's special mercy is shown, please remember that it may not be pleasant mercy sometimes, meaning it may not be a pleasant emotion. Momentarily, it may not be a pleasant emotion. We may feel like, oh, come on, again, why? But then Krishna is trying to protect us. He's showing special mercy so that we don't get deviated. So it's something very personal. It depends on our natures, And I remember for somebody else who's not here in the call today, but our friend, Nam Kannadadoru, for her, it's an austerity to kind of be there for the family in the vacation, for instance, And because that's what Krishna, for that person, the special mercy is shown in a way that, in a different way. I always tell her that your life situation and my life situation is so kind of opposite. You're given opportunities like, she went on a cruise ship vacation. And then she was telling me, oh, I'm thinking of you, Shri Radha Govinda, because you like this kind of stuff. And she doesn't like it at all. She doesn't like it at all. For her, it was an austerity. So I told her, just go along, because this is Krishna's plan for you. He's letting you do it. Not even a blade of grass moves without his desire. So he knows that she's not going to get into material enjoyment there. That's why he gives it. But probably for me, if I get that, I will get lost in material enjoyment. So Krishna doesn't give that to me.
Yeah, nice way to see it. That's true.
Perfection.
I was just thinking when you said about this ticket and all that, right? I was thinking like this is real mercy of the Lord. Though, however it seems to us, this is real mercy. Like how much He cares for us, how much He cares for you, right? Because why would He do that? It's not like kapata mercy. It's like pure mercy. I mean, so much of love He has for you, Mataji. That's what I can feel, Only when we love somebody so much, we want to protect them, like in every way, like the way I want to protect my kid, right? So many different things. And I, most of the time, of course, ultimately Krishna is the main protector. But from my, whatever is within my boundary, I'll try my best, because why? It's my child, it's dependent, poor thing, it doesn't know. So I feel like, that's exactly how Krishna is reciprocating with you. Like, wow, so sweet. He's so sweet.
So true. What you said about that he doesn't know what he's doing, that definitely I feel Krishna thinking like that about me. You don't know what you're getting into or what is your desire. Because deeply, it takes me a while sometimes, and there's that kind of momentary disappointment. But very quickly I realized that no, there must be some plan. That's why this happened. And then immediately, I've been to like over 35 countries, right? And it's always preaching. I arrive at the airport, the devotees bring us to the temple, we do the program, super busy reading people, consulting people, meeting with people, doing the programs, going on Harinam. Yeah, that's the maximum exposure to tourism for me. Harinam, going on Harinam. Okay, at least I saw the city, Otherwise, it's airport and temple and back. So I was thinking how that is a kind of protection, because otherwise, I don't know. But momentarily, I may feel a little disappointed. But then later on, I realized like, no, it was for my own good. It was Krishna's mercy upon me that I could help so many devotees. And then years later, I realized so many people writing to me and thanking me for some advice I gave them or something. And I'm thinking, you see, I could have gone and enjoyed the tourism or something out there. But instead, I did that little sacrifice to be there for devotees. And today I have association of devotees as a result of that. Because as an astrologer, I know that we are sowing seeds of karma, of desires. Whatever seed I'm sowing, only that I can reap. If I sowed the seed of in the mood of enjoyment, if I went around to try to fulfill my material desires, I would finish my good credits. And then maybe, I don't know, I'm just saying, maybe I would struggle to get association of devotees. Maybe I will struggle to get service. But today I'm feeling grateful looking at my astrological period that I was going through. And instead of enjoyment, I invested in service. And then in this period, when I'm in a tough period, I'm in my Rahu period right now, things could have been really much more difficult. But Krishna's grace, Krishna's mercy, he inspired me and protected me from drifting off. And therefore, today I can see that that little sacrifices I made to serve devotees, today I have service. I have devotees coming home, I have the support groups, and it's the mercy of the Lord. And so it's the seeds that we sow for our desires, for our sankalpa, what we do, and then that gives us a result. So in this difficult time, I have association of devotees, and it's keeping me engaged. So what saved me is engaging in devotee service, and what is saving me is engaging in devotee service. So that's what means that planets don't affect us, because the Lord is taking personal care and not allowing us to drift off. Like that.
So sweet, Mataji. Thank you for sharing that.
I'm also realizing all this as I'm sharing that it was like that. It was like that. I had chances to do something else, and I chose, no, let me be of service. And then, now I would go crazy if I didn't have service. I have these programs at home, 30, 40 devotees come to my house. Tomorrow also I have a program. Every Saturday I have a program. Every morning I have Mangalarti and Darshanarti in my house. Devotees coming. It's my saving grace, because without that, my Rahu would drive me crazy, not wanting to do this kind of stuff. But because of Krishna taking, there is this Kannada bhajan. What is that, Srinivasa? Indu ninna moraya hokke Srinivasane yendikadaromme kayo Srinivasane. So today I'm calling out to you, my Lord. One day, please. One day, please protect me one day for today's calling out to you. That day when it comes that I'm in the most need, please, today I'm calling out to you, but please remember and save me the day when I need. So this is kind of the prayer that we do, that when we are in good times, if we sow good seeds, then in difficult times, our good deeds will come to our rescue. And what to speak in devotional service. I'm saying that there's so much subtle enjoyment even when we are devotees. Like I'm thinking, because I was willing to preach, I got invited to so many countries, so many places. Like South Africa invites, now lockdown they didn't, but every year they would invite me to go and do Rath Yatra. Same thing, right? Drill. Go to the airport, go to the temple, do the Rath Yatra festivals, do the temple programs, do the temple visits, go home visits, programs, and then go back to the airport and come back to India. And so all these things I'm remembering, like, that was my good times. Krishna gave me opportunity to travel the world. but how I invested it, with what consciousness I invested it. Now in my Rahu time, which is more limiting, more constricted, I don't know. And in this time, that's coming to my rescue. The same consciousness that I sowed is coming to my rescue, because I called out to the Lord in happy times. So in Sankatadalli Venkataramana, now I'm able to think of Krishna like that. So anyway, my personal life example about difference between sthanam and poshanam. Because sthanam would have been, okay, find comfort, remain peaceful, remain happy. But poshanam may not necessarily mean be peaceful, happy. It can mean one slap on the face or on the kick in the butt that you have to get up and get moving and do devotional service.
Yeah, my Gurmat says that only when we surrender to Krishna, we're surrendering to him on his terms, not on our terms. Basically, it's like Krishna's will, not your will, when you surrender. That one. And also, when you're talking so much about it, I'm just reminded of Guha, right? When he's like, what is it, ferrying Lord Ram, Sita Maya, and Ravan, Lakshman, right, across the lake. And he's telling, like, here I'm just doing this service, take this as my service, my Lord, and I don't want any termination for this. When the time comes for me to go, leave this body, that time you help me to cross over this natural ocean by your mercy. And then I'm just feeling like that, same thing. Your incident is just inspiring me, that story. I'm still reading Ramayana to Gaura, that's why somehow this is so sweet in the whole of Ramayana, of how the Lord reciprocates, right, with him.
Wow, I love that, Guha. Yeah, that's a good one. Actually, it's a beautiful reminder. Actually, I'm going to take note of that here. Guha.
I got reminded of that because of your stories, Mataji.
Yeah, no, it's so true. But even that, that mercy, like I said, at that moment, it may not feel like mercy. How many times sometimes I would complain to my Prabhu or feel, when I went on a vacation, we went to so many countries, but I never saw the country. It was always preaching. Can we just go somewhere where there's not like that, so many times. But today I can see that it was Krishna's protection, because he wanted to protect me from that. It's not needed for me. That's the point. My actual desire, my actual enjoyment is in doing programs and doing Bhagavatam, doing Gita. That's actually my pleasure. So Krishna helped me, that jaundice, you remember that taste. Sometimes we are struggling with the taste because we have the jaundice. Our tongue is not able to enjoy the holy names. But then by Krishna's mercy, he'll stop us from eating wrong food. So we'll get cured faster. I'm not saying I'm cured at all. I'm still having a lot of jaundice, but I can feel that that taste has to be given. It's not something that we can get it. Krishna has to give us that mercy. That's why we say now mercy, depending on mercy. And association.
Yeah, these days I'm just praying for that only. Association of nice devotees who can elevate, the consciousness. Satsang is so important. Oh my God, so important.
Like Savitri Mataji's association always reminds me, I'm Krishna's. Because she will, every day, every class, she'll speak about that. Every class. Mamai Vamsho Jivaloke is her favorite verse. Oh, actually, the last verse, Sarvadharmam Parityaja, is her favorite verse. What's the last verse of Gita?
Wherever there is Arjun, the great one, wherever there is Krishna, then there'll always be victory.
Well, no, not that one. No, but the last chapter. Does this come in the last chapter? The one about Sarvadharman?
Yeah, Sarvadharman comes in on the 1864.
Yeah, that's her favorite verse. Yeah. My favorite verse is Mamai Vamsho Jivaloke. I know, I love that. Like, I'm Krishna's. It really helps. So thank you so much for your association. And I hope it was not too much about my personal realizations, but you are all welcome to share and ask
It is reinvesting our faith in the Lord, like what you said, deepening our faith by listening to that. It is not about you, Mataji. It is everything beautiful. Thank you.
It just came. Yeah.
Thank you
Thank
so
you.
much, Mataji. It was so inspiring to hear about you, and really, I feel like, yes, let Krishna will, whatever Krishna plans, let that plan happen. So whenever I hear you, I really feel like that. I don't want to impose my plans on Krishna for this lifetime. Yeah, I hope.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all your sincerity and realizations. And see you tomorrow.
Thank
Actually,
you.
today we have emotional sobriety meeting for those of you who want to come. I mean, for Taruni, it's tomorrow. Neha, you're in India or you're in US?
I am in US, Mataji, Denver.
Denver. Okay, so it's also your tomorrow. So for me and Rasastali, it's tomorrow, and for Taruni and Neha, it's today evening. No, for you, it's what am I saying? Yeah, for you, it's tomorrow.
Morning. Yeah.
And for me and Rasastali, it's today evening.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Hare Krishna.